Thank you so much for joining us today for BANAFEST 2021. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to your platform. It's a privilege and a pleasure. And as I was saying just before this, that it's a huge pleasure and a privilege, of course, because I have this connection with Singapore. I've lived there for 3-4 years, and my first my debut novel, In Pursuit of Infidelity, the second half of the book is actually the backdrop has Singapore. And the book became a huge hit. It is also available in the National Library of Singapore. So it's a real honor for me as well to join your platform. Thank you very much for inviting me. My name is SUJATA, and I am a novelist based in Delhi, India. I've been writing for the past 10, 11 years now, so over a decade. And I have about 10 books that's already out. And my 11th, actually my 12th book will be out sometime later part of this year, which is on solo parenting. So that's a non-fiction. Although I started off writing fiction, I started off writing novels, and then I have since then I've written across genre. I started off with something called, the title of the book was In Pursuit of Infidelity, the one I was talking about. And it's in the genre of romance and relationship. Then I moved on to experiment with writing. So I wrote short stories, I wrote poetry, and published them, of course. And then I also wrote a socio-political thriller. And now, just recently, this year in February, my 10th book came out, which is part of the Pursuit series, In Pursuit of Mi Amor. It's a mature romance, and it is based in Spain and Portugal, part in Spain, part in Portugal, and very little bit in India, of course. So that's very briefly about me. The journey has been extremely engaging and very interesting, and it's a learning process. So it's still on. There's a lot to do, a lot to learn.
It was such a pleasure having you here. So you have had such a diverse career. You have worked in so many different fields. You have been a social activist, and you have been a psychological trainer, and you have also been a member of so many literary clubs and foundations. You also have your own foundation, a forum. It's called Talk It Out, I guess. And
Talk It Out Express. Yeah, Talk It Out Express.
It was a surprise to see that you have also worked for European airlines and hotels and resorts and all of that. So I think it is also seen in your literary career also. There's so much diversity in your works. You are a novelist, you're a poet. So how do you think you got inspired to it? What was the catalyst for which started you off with your career?
So professionally, I call myself a gypsy, a professional gypsy. I have been jumping industries and sectors. And as you mentioned, I started off with the airline industry, worked with them for 3-4 years. My first job was with Scandinavian Airlines, a European carrier. Worked with them for 3-4 years, glorious years, and it actually shaped my personality. I love travel. And I think it's because I have traveled so much, and I enjoy traveling so much, that these stories came to me. It was a general progression. After traveling so much and all, then you tend to see or tend to actually reflect upon so many beautiful incidents and all, and then a story idea comes to you and you start writing. Although that is not what happened in my in case of my first book, although indirectly you could say that my living in Singapore also played a role in including it into the book. Part of the book, as I mentioned, is based in Singapore. So that happened because I lived there, I experienced that life. And so I could put it in the story. And it added a different flavor. It added an extra spiciness to the story, a twist to the story, which really worked, and it made the book really popular. It's still there out in the market. After 11 years, the book is still out there in print. People are still reading it and all that. So yes, travel has played a major role in my life. Now, as far as my inclination or to write or inspiration to write is concerned, it just happened accidentally. I was a voracious reader always from childhood. I used to love reading books, especially romance, so that's still my favorite genre. But I didn't know that, one day I'll become a writer. It just happened accidentally to me. I was working in the social sector on a project, on a women's project, and this interaction with these group of ladies, married women, and what they shared kind of disturbed or made me feel in a certain way. So I came back home and I started jotting down something. It was a story, so I started writing the story, and then I did not delete it. Every few days I would add to that story, and it was becoming very interesting. So I thought, let me just reach out to a few publishers whom I know. I know as a reader, not as a writer, or not from the I wasn't from the publishing industry, had no knowledge, nothing. I just reached out to some, found their email IDs, pulled them out from the internet, and then sent them mails, just giving a few sample chapters and my introduction, little bit or whatever. That's it. And some of the, a lot of rejections, of course, very polite rejections came in, but a very popular publisher of India, Rupa, and another publisher, two of them showed interest and they were keen to publish the book. So I was over the moon. I was like, oh, okay, somebody is interested at least in my story. And that's how the journey started. Rupa really, I worked with them intensely for the next 8-9 months, and reworked on certain portions of the book. And finally, it was published in 2009. And it went on to, within a year, it became a bestseller, which I didn't know the word then. I didn't even know what bestseller means, what does it convey. But that's my publisher educated me about it. And I was really thrilled. I was featured everywhere. And since then, the journey has been amazing. I've learned so much, the finer nuances. Now, when I look back, I feel that I should have written it in a much better way. I could have written it in a much better way, although it's doing well. But there are, the writer in you and the perfectionist in you. A writer is never satisfied with his or her writing, right? Any creative person, they're never satisfied. So it just went on and on. And yeah, now 10-11 books later, I feel good. I'm at a good spot.
Yeah. I think it worked actually because you've already experienced the book you're writing. So that's why it reached the audience more than just imagining the story. You actually lived the story, so it was more effective, I guess.
No, actually, it's a complete fiction. The story turned out to be totally like 360-degree opposite, or turn than what actually happened. Ground reality, what they shared with me, they just triggered something off within me. And that's what it does. A word, an expression, or something that kind of to a creative person, to a writer, that is all they need. And then they can, imagination comes into work, and then you can create your stories. And that's what happened. The story is totally different. It's about a young couple, married couple, and their relationship with themselves, with each other, and then how infidelity works on both of them. Both of them cheat on each other, although they are quite happily married and everything is going on well. So the idea was to study how cheating or straying impacts both the partners. It's not only the victim but also the perpetrator, both of them, how it impacts them. And it was received well. It's a very thrashed about subject. A lot of people have written about it, but I think there was something new to the table that I brought and which worked. So yeah, I got some hate mails also for it, but that's okay.
That's just another part of it. Yeah.
Read the book. Yeah, read the book and then tell me what you think about it. But yeah, in India, it was something totally new that I was trying to present. So yeah.
I think your motto also ties into this, like I imagine, therefore I write. So that's how it began. So
Yes.
you've also written poetry collection. There are 3 volumes. So how is it different from writing a novel? So how is the experience different from writing a novel, a fiction story?
Yeah. So stories generally I write to entertain others, my readers, right? For entertainment. Poetry is a reflection, is a self. I write mostly, I write poetry for myself. I wouldn't have got it published, but for my dad, who was like, you write very well. And, he published my first poetry collection. I was invited to a symposium in my own college, and they had invited me as a guest speaker. So I was just generally collecting my poems, and he said, no, 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 this is the right opportunity. You must bring out your collection and get it, let it be released at this college fest, or whatever, that symposium or conference, whatever was there many years back. I've forgotten what exactly was the event. So yeah, they had invited me as a guest of honor. So he said, no, no, you publish your or release the book there, and I will get it done for you. So I said, okay, you're so keen and so interested, let me just bring it out. Otherwise, poetry I generally write for myself. And after those three were out, I have written for anthologies, even in fact for a Singapore anthology that hasn't been published yet. I think last year somebody got in touch with me. They're bringing out an Indo-Singapore anthology, and I've contributed to that. But a lot of other anthologies within India and outside also have written for them. But I haven't brought out my own poetry collection after those three, because I generally feel that it's for my own consumption, and it's your pure thought, right, that you're putting there on paper. And if and we are very sensitive, writers and poets are very sensitive by nature. So for my stories, I can still take criticism, or I can I can maybe say, okay, they didn't like the story, so it's not, I wrote it in a certain way, they did not enjoy it, so it's not my problem. It's okay, you don't enjoy everything that you see or watch. Everybody has it's a subjective thing. But for poetry, I'm very sensitive. I'm like, if somebody points out, okay, this is not right, or that is not, I am not writing for that person, I'm writing poetry for myself. So to me, it is very precious. I brought three, that collection, that series, Poetry Out and Loud series. It has three poetry collections. So that happened, but after that, since then, I have stopped. Actually, never thought that I should bring out another one myself. Although I do contribute to anthologies and all once in a while.
I think that's the biggest, hardest part of being a writer. Like you have to bare your soul and let people judge it for what it
Yes.
is. Yeah, and it's always very subjective. Yeah,
Yes.
so I think that's hard. So, how was your experience with the industry? Like from being a rookie writer to now being such a huge established writer. So, what is the difference you see in the industry after these many years of being a writer?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I'm an accidental writer, I never really thought that I never really focused on, whether I'll become a big writer or not, or I will be, appreciated, acknowledged everywhere or not. I was just generally doing my job. I was simply writing stories, and if somebody liked it, that was it. I mean, I was happy with my books being published only. But later on, what happened from the first book itself, it like readers and a lot of focus from the print media and other media also started coming in, and so that kind of catapults you into limelight. And then it's not only people think, oh, it's really nice and you're being acknowledged and you're being visible everywhere, people are noticing it and everything. But if you see behind the curtain, writers has to be very responsible in what they are presenting, what they are writing and all. So there's a huge responsibility also on your shoulder. So that always I keep it in the back of my mind when I'm writing stories, and I'm writing mostly bold stories, and involving my prime characters are mostly women, modern Indian women. And I know that it is not very easy to show them in a different light. I'm not showing them in a conventional way. They are their own person. They are very expressive, confident, bold, and they make mistakes. So the a very big part of my writing, when any book you pick up, whether it's a romance or my socio-political thriller or my short stories, anything you pick up, I show women in a different light. I'm not only talking about the good things of a woman, that part of it, but I'm also showing that they are human. They also make mistakes. They have desires, they have aspirations, and in order to fulfill them, they sometimes also make wrong choices, and you should be able to accept them. That is, instead of victimizing them, right? So these are certain things that I try to bring out through my books. I have not really faced much of a problem in the industry. There have been people have been very kind to me, publishers and everyone. I try to stick to one publisher for at least two of my books. And right now, my publisher, Pune publisher, Vishwakarma Publications, they are also into education and all. Other than publishing, they have their own institutes and educational institutes and everything. So in fact, I'm bringing out my third book also with them. The solo parenting book will also happen with them. So I try to stick to a publisher as long as things go well, and I'm happy. The editor is happy with me. I am happy with the editor, and overall, generally, it's not a one person thing, right? Bringing out a book, it's the whole entire team. They are working. We are all working as a team, and it's important that we should all be able to gel well with each other, be able to appreciate what the other person is doing or bringing to the table, to make it, to polish it, and bring it out to the world. So generally, it has been a good journey so far. I haven't faced any issues, but I do know that it's not very easy. Like in any industry, it's not very easy to be published. Now, what has happened with the digital medium and all coming in, you can self-publish. You can bring out your own book, and you can distribute your own book, and all that has made the publishing process slightly easier for the writer, whoever wants to bring it out. So that is one thing, but then again, it has its pros and cons. Distribution is a huge issue. A writer can't be going distributing his or her own book. There are some people who are good with in social media and have strong following and all. We never used to focus so much 10 years back on our social media following and all, but nowadays even the publishers ask you, how many followers do you have on social media. And so these are some changes, little changes that are coming in, and at the end of the day, whether that really ends up in a book sale or not, I don't really have any idea. And I personally feel that you might be visible on social media, but that does not necessarily mean that you are a very good writer or your books are doing well. So there's a gap.
Internet plays a very huge role in establishing writers also, but I think in the end it also depends on the writing.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
So you've had support from everyone around you all your life, from the beginning of your career. So how would you describe your family and your parents, or how they supported you throughout your journey?
My parents have been rock solid, have given me that complete support. They have been rock solid behind me, standing behind me. So there was no saying, them asking me about my writing. They've been like really, really good. I'm a single parent. I live in Delhi with my son, who's about 17 now. He's 17, not about, but he's 17. So he's also he's not read any of my books yet, but he's quite encouraging. He's quite encouraging. He feels proud that his mom writes. My ex-husband, who lives in Singapore, he's never like in the beginning he was also vocal. Now he's not so vocal, but he's been also a silent supporter always. He's very proud of me, and he mentions this fact to his friends and everyone. We have common friends also. So all our friends come to know whenever my book is out. My new book is out, so they would already know and all that. So I know that he's also very proud, and so I've never really found any opposition to my writing. although it does
Wonderful.
not fetch you, yeah, it doesn't fetch you a lot of money, you know. It's writing is not something that will get
Oh,
you the
sure,
bread of the day.
definitely.
Yeah, but still, yeah, it's good. Except for that part, I think. Otherwise, it's quite nice. Uh, Not only that, you know, like I get calls from universities, from colleges, from schools. Like I'm doing this interview with you, I'm asked to come and deliver a workshop or a keynote as a keynote speaker. I'm invited. All those things are very you enjoy such things. And me being a traveler, I love traveling, and somebody is inviting me to Coimbatore and to lovely places to Pondicherry, and all those places you want to visit and go. And then so you of course it you feel really nice, you feel happy about it, right? So it's been quite wonderful, very supportive environment I have. Yes.
You have won like so many awards. So just to mention a few, you have won Rex Karmavir Award and Woman Innovator Award, and you have had your books being nominated to many of the awards. So does it make you like? Does it put some pressure on you to like on your writing career? Like you have to do more stuff or something like that?
I mean, awards, rewards, recognition, these are great motivators. They make you feel good that, okay, whatever you are doing is worth it. Somebody is recognizing it, somebody is appreciating it. So that's wonderful. But I'm happy, like you can see the award behind. I don't know, it's put up on the
Yes,
wall,
yes,
the
it
Karamveer
is.
Chakra. And the lady there, the statue lady, that's the 100 Women Faces Award. And then I received another one this year, was a Women Achievers Award in 2021, early this year, by a news agency in India. So these are like, I mean, I feel wonderful about it. I feel great about it. But then I don't take it to, I don't let it weigh me down. I am quite fine as I am. My job is to write. And if somebody loves my writing, I am over the moon. I feel really happy when I receive these reviews and all. What actually touched me were a couple of things, messages that I received, and I put it up on LinkedIn also.
That is such a huge achievement in itself.
Yes, and then there was this another book, of my second book, In Pursuit of Ecstasy, a research scholar from South India, uh, from, I'm forgetting, Mother Teresa University, something like that. She got in touch with me and said, I'm using it as a secondary data. Can I use it? And then she interviewed me and everything. That was huge. Those things really make you feel glad. And now, of course, awards and awards anytime. Bring them on. Give more to
It
me.
is definitely. It's always good to receive some kind of appreciation for your work.
Yeah. But again, as a writer, my job is to write interesting stories, make an impact. All my stories, if you get to read one or two of them, you will see I make it a point to end my stories on a happy, positive note. Whatever might be the situation, and there are ups and downs, but the ending, I will never leave, a sad ending or a negative ending. That's something that I've consciously decided not to do. So that is the only place where I play my, consciously play a part. Otherwise, the entire book is actually guided by the characters which I develop initially. So they then take the story forward.
Yeah. So, what are some other genres you think you want to work in the future? Like some shifting genres from what you're doing right now. If you
Yeah. So, yeah, like the thing is that I've just current in two books this year is huge for me. I write one book in every 2 years. That's what I've decided. One book every 2 years. Every couple of years, just one book. But now, and this year, two of my books are coming. One is already out. Another is on solo parenting. It's a guidebook, a hand guide for solo parents. So that will come out sometime in September. I am working on a fiction, but I'm going very slow with it. I don't want to hurry it, and I still want to, kind of play it up in my mind first, and then get it down on paper. So that's something that I will do. Fiction, I will continue to write, The other areas, I really want to write a humor. I've never attempted humor at all, and I am not I'm not very good with jokes and all. As as a person, my timing doesn't work. People don't get it sometimes, or maybe I'm not that good enough to kind of convey it in the manner that a person who knows how to tell their jokes would be able to do that. I am not so good at it. So that is something very challenging for me. Let's see if I can write one. I'll be very happy if I can do that, write a humor. Otherwise, I am writing short stories for a platform in India again. That's completely different. That I may not be able to talk about it much here, but a very interesting project, and I'm enjoying that. It's something to the work that I do. The Talk It Out Express, that work that I do as a therapist, a talk therapist, and all. So it is relatable. So those stories that I'm bringing out are kind of leaning towards this kind of work that I do as a talk therapist. So yeah, they're interesting. That's what I'm doing.
So we are running out of time. So final question. So what would be your message to our audience, like aspiring writers and artists? What would you like to tell them?
To all the creative people who are watching this, my advice would be, or not advice actually, this is what I have experienced myself, and through experience I'm sharing this, that to be a writer or to be a creative person, you only need three things. One is passion, how much you love the work that you do. It will never bore you. If it doesn't bore you, you will keep on doing it. You will not mind doing it again and again and again. So passion, compassion, which doesn't only mean that helping out others, but also means that you look at a thing from different perspectives, from different points of view. And when you start looking from a different points of view, you will be able to come up with new stories. So passion, compassion, and curiosity and imagination walks hand in hand. As children, we are all very curious. You have seen children asking so many questions, some of them really innocent ones. They are beautiful, they're simple questions. And you may think, why is the child asking in such a simple question? But that is the spirit that you must carry even in your adult life. Curiosity will give rise to, or kind of ignite your imagination. You can not only go on that path of learning, you will want to know what is happening or what is it about, etc., but you will also use your own imagination to build stories, and you will be able to come up with beautiful stories. Everything else can be learned. Everything, the finer nuances of writing and everything can be learned, but these three things, if you have within you, that is passion, compassion, and curiosity, you can become a successful writer, a very good writer, or any creative person. Okay, so that's about it.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute honor talking to you today. I was
Thank
very
you.
nervous, but yeah, it was.
No, why should you be nervous? We are just chatting up, right? We are exploring. I mean, you were generally wanting to know the life of a writer, or at least showing interest in my writing. So I was very happy to talk to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. As an aspiring writer myself, I think this interview will help me a lot too.
Absolutely, yeah. And you can reach out to me anytime if you get stuck somewhere and you need answers to any of your questions that you might be having. You can always reach out to me. We are anyway connected, right? So
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you once again.
most welcome. Bye bye. Have a good day.